Charlie Kirk's been killed, and we're still unclear as to why he was killed. So today we're going to be going around asking people why they think he was killed. I'm going to share my thoughts on why I think he was killed at the end of this video. So let's go see what people think. Why do you think Charlie Kirk died?
Oh man, I don't know. I think people are just kind of crazy nowadays. A bunch of radicals, you know what I mean?
I had a question for you.
What's up?
Why do you think Charlie Kirk died?
He was taken out.
Yeah.
Assassination.
But like, what was like the motive behind it, I guess?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, I think it was a plot, you know, but like from his own people. Yeah, you know, I don't know what they sense to gain from it, but I mean, nobody deserves to die.
No.
Not at all.
Who do you think like the people like were? Like what side were they on? Or
Conservatives. I think conservatives took him out.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know why, but I mean, it's just like the same thing what happened with Trump with his ear. Like, it's like an inside job, but I don't think with Trump, I don't think they were trying to take him out, just make him look better. I don't know with Charlie Kirk how anybody benefits from that.
True.
You know, I don't even see how like liberals would benefit. I mean, he was just talking, you know?
Right.
He was just giving his opinion.
Right.
Be like that.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, but I got DoorDash.
No worries. Let me ask you, why do you guys think Charlie Kirk died?
You don't want my opinion on
Dude, I want it. Come on. Give me the opinion. We need it.
Nah. A lot of thoughts going through my head, but why do you think he died?
Oh man, flipping it on me now. I think it might be Israel government.
100%.
100%, right?
100%.
Yeah, dude, he was starting to talk out about it like a month or two before he died, and then
Well, he also did, you know, he denied $150 million from Apex.
it's 150 mil.
APEC, not Apex.
Right.
Yeah, it was 150 million. So shortly after that, it's weird. There's a lot of stuff that you start looking into and it just doesn't add up. But
Right. Really sketchy story.
definitely in Israel's pockets for some reason. I don't know why.
We can't talk about it too much.
A little too fishy. But yeah.
All right, it was good talking to you, boys. Okay, now I'm going to share what it seems like to me is going on here. It seems like the Israeli government had something to do with Charlie Kirk's death. And let me explain. I got a lot of points to go through. So hear me out. In the last month or two of Charlie Kirk's life, he was starting to question Israel. Here's a couple videos showing you what I'm talking about.
I am sick of being lectured on like, you have to see it exactly as we see it and support everything, or you're against us.
I got
Agreed.
text about you, Megan. Why is Megan like doing the bidding of Hamas? I was like, what are you talking about? Megan's the best. And I said, why are you texting me about Megan? This is what they don't understand. You and I, Megan, and Tucker is in the same category, and they've tried to go after Tucker. The more you attack our moral character, the more we're going to double down in a direction, because
100%.
Screw you. I don't do it that way, okay? On some part of the population, you can scold them into silence, but if I have any deviation of a purity test, any deviation whatsoever, such as hosting a focus group, right, Megan, with a bunch of our students that went viral, having Dave Smith or Tucker at my event, it is all of a sudden, oh, Charlie is he's no longer with us and all that. I said, wait a second, what do you mean? What does with us mean exactly, right? I'm an American, okay? Like, I represent this country. The more that you guys privately and publicly call our character into question, which is not isolated, right? Megan, it would be one thing if it was one text or two text. It is dozens of texts.
Yes.
Then we start to say, hold the boat here. And to be fair, some of my really good Jewish friends are like, that's not all of us, it's all, but these are leaders too, though, right? These are stakeholders, right? I'm afraid because, again, I want civilization to win. I feel the connection to Israel, but at the same time, simultaneously, when the hostile reaction is that now Megan and Charlie are enemies,
right?
Boy, I'll tell you, like you're gonna weaken and just basically deflate two of your strongest advocates if that continues. We've pushed back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border, so like maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse. Some people in the Israeli government are saying, again, it's all over the place, right? You have opinions all over. In your opinion, what would a good outcome 5 years from now be? And how does one respond to the claims of ethnic cleansing?
Earlier this year, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, offered Charlie a lot of money to go to Turning Point USA, according to a close friend of Charlie's, and Charlie said no. This shows that they were clearly trying to control him. You don't just give somebody a bunch of money for no reason. That's the whole point of lobbying. Harrison Smith, a host of InfoWars, tweeted a month before Charlie died, saying, "I'm not going to name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie Kirk that Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them." That is crazy. You know, typically whenever somebody's murdered and the person that gets murdered says that they think somebody else is going to kill them, that typically ends up being a pretty good source. If you've been following the story that the CIA has been telling, you would see that it's changed so many times, and it just feels like they're lying. They're also not releasing all of the information to the public, and there's really no reason to do that. In general, if somebody's going to lie about something, there's a reason why they're lying. Nobody just lies about something for no reason. So in my opinion, it points to them having some kind of involvement with this. I say that for legal reasons. It points to the CIA being involved and our government being involved. We have a lot of Zionists in our government, which is essentially people that are pro-Israel. A lot of people believe that Israel's government and Zionists have a lot of control over our government through lobbying, which means that they would have a lot of say over the decisions that our government makes. So you have to understand that. Trump has reportedly taken over $230 million from Zionists. So with that being said, let's get more into the story. The Discord messages that were released is some of the worst work I think I've ever seen. To me, it looks like they asked AI to record a conversation between two people in their 20s, but instead they actually prompted AI to say in the 20s, like in the 1920s. So that's why we're left with this message that starts with, "I'm still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet." Nobody says that. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. And here's the real kick. This is where it gets good. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. Till he died of old age? Does anybody say that nowadays? Nobody says that. This sounds like it was written in the 1920s. And then the roommate just comes out and directly says, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" And then he says, "I am. I'm sorry." I just refuse to believe that anybody that stages a murder would confess to the murder in the second text. There's just no way that happens. Who does that? The roommate says, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude that interrogated someone in similar clothing. I'd planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. No one says that. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. And the roommate says, "Why?" Robin says, "Why did I do it?" Admits to it again. The roommate says, "Yeah." Oh my gosh. Robinson says, "I've had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out." Remember that line. That line's important. I'm going to come back to that later. Tyler then allegedly says, "If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." And the roommate says, "How long have you been planning this?" Tyler says, "A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it." By the way, nobody says squad car except for somebody that works with squad cars. But anyways, I think they've already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Then he says, "I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle." Totally unnecessary. I feel like that's a totally unnecessary worry. And he says, "I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it. Hope they don't find the prints. How the heck will I explain losing it to my old man? The only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The curse word messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge ooh on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it. That really effing sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was a $2,000 scope." Then he said, "Delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering." I feel like that timing is so unrealistic, but anyways. Then he says, "Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA." Then he says, "I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. You are all I worry about, love." And the roommate says, "I'm much more worried about you." And then Robinson says, quotes, don't talk to the media, please don't take any interviews or make any comments. If the police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. I feel like that is the fakest narrative I've ever seen. It's like they inputted into AI exactly all of the evidence and the exact narrative that the CIA wanted to run with, and then they put this out to the public, and then a bunch of it ends up not being the case, and now they're scrambling to figure out how to make this sound right. It's a giant disaster. I'm trying not to make this video too long. I'm gonna direct you guys to some other videos later. If you don't have time for them, add them to like your watch later playlist on YouTube. So obviously the CIA is trying to push the narrative that Tyler Robinson was the one that killed him, but the bullet trajectory is off. And there's a lot of people saying that he actually got shot from the back right, that we thought was an entry wound was actually an exit wound of the bullet going through. And the narrative that the CIA was pushing for a while was the bullet didn't go through, but he was shot with a 30-06, which would definitely go through a neck. I mean, there aren't really any hard bones in your neck, so that makes no sense. So they're like clearly lying and trying to push a narrative that isn't true, or so it seems like. I'm trying not to get sued here, guys. They actually repaved the spot where Charlie was killed, which makes no sense to do. There's an active investigation going on, and you're tampering with the immediate surroundings of where the murder happened. I mean, that makes literally no sense to do that. It definitely makes it look like they're trying to cover something up. I mean, who would do that? And here's one of the biggest bombshells of this entire thing that I haven't really seen anybody talking about.
Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. The sweatpants and the Harvard jacket, the kind of disheveled hair, looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics. And it's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun. Maybe he was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis. Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
Charlie was pressing the government to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. And the elites do not like it whenever you talk about Jeffrey Epstein and try to expose that whole thing. Credible sources have claimed that Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent, which is a fancy word for Israel's intelligence agency, or the CIA of Israel. Throughout history, people have been killed and given death threats over talking about it. So it is kind of a crazy move for me to talk about this. So you're probably wondering, why would I talk about this if people literally die over this topic? I don't think that I'll die because of this, because I'm not at the level of Charlie where like this video isn't going to get 1.5 million views like how his Jeffrey Epstein video did. I think this video will get like a couple hundred, and I don't think they're going to take huge action over that. So we should be good. But if I die, you guys know who it was. So to recap, Charlie was pushing for the Epstein files to be released, which would show who's visited the island. And arguably the craziest part of it all was that hearing was on the same day that Charlie was killed. And it seems like part of the reason was for it to be a distraction and for people to take their focus off of the Epstein Senate hearing and on to Charlie's death, which is totally what happened. I haven't really seen anybody talking about this, but you can look it up. It literally happened on September 10th, and it did not get passed for the files to be released. All of the Democrats voted for it to be released, and all but 2 Republicans voted for the files not to be released, which is really disappointing, but it shows that there's clearly something going on with that, since there's something that they don't want us to see. Comment down below what you guys think is going on with that. There's even an organization called AIPAC, which stands for the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, and its mission is to strengthen the U.S.-Israel relationship through lobbying and advocacy. Charlie was against taking money from foreign nations, and he expressed this multiple times on the internet that he believed we should put America first, and we should not be taking money from foreign countries. From what I've seen, it looks like they want to split us apart from each other and divide us, and they want it to be conservatives versus liberals, and that's why they picked Tyler Robinson, who apparently has a transgender roommate who he's in a romantic relationship with. So I think that they found somebody that seems like he would be super liberal. He's dating a transgender person who was born a man and is trying to transition into being a woman. My gut says Tyler didn't even shoot him and was forced to be there, and if he didn't, something terrible would happen to him. That's my suspicion. I'm not saying that's what's going on, but I'd be curious to see what you guys think. But if I had to guess, I think that's what's going on. So something that Charlie was also fighting against earlier this year, that he even has DMs with Candace Owens, is them talking about how the government wants to limit our speech and they want to make hate speech against the law, when the First Amendment clearly says that we have free speech, and hate speech would clearly be a type of speech, so it would like fall into the umbrella of speech. And I think we'll see them trying to push for that in the coming years. And I think one of the reasons why they killed him was to try to get people on board with making hate speech illegal. So if you go back to those Discord DMs, the 6th message that Tyler Robinson allegedly says is, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out." Like, this seems to me like the most blatantly fake AI created series of messages I think I've ever seen. The narrative they're trying to push is this dude is on the run and he's still saying these things. I feel like they think that people have super short attention spans, which is true, and people are only going to read the first couple messages, so they try to put that in at the top. But anyways, to wrap this video up, I don't want to really continue to make this kind of content, but I feel like it's important to talk about this, and I feel like this is what people want to know right now, and I've been following the story a bunch, and I'm pretty confident that I understand what's really going on. I can lead people in the right path, and I want to make more people aware. The kind of content that I eventually want to get into is making apologetics like content, where I'm going out and talking to people and trying to lead them to Jesus, or at least plant some seeds, because I truly believe the solution to all of these problems is Jesus, for a bunch of reasons. I don't want to make this video too long, but I think if more people followed his teachings, like loving your neighbor, not going around and killing one another, not lying to each other, I think that would do a lot of good, and I feel like that's what God wants me to do. So I'm actually in the works of planning a cross-country road trip, very similar to Ryan Trahan's 50 States in 50 Days series, where I road trip across the entire country and I talk to people about Jesus in every single state. I'm going to live stream all of this on Pump Fun and launch my own coin, and in doing so, that should cover the cost of doing a massive road trip. It's going to cost a lot of money, it looks like. I think it's going to take like 5 to 8 grand to do it, so I'm still like running the numbers on it, making sure it makes sense, but I really want to do it, and I think I'm going to be able to make it happen. So be on the lookout for that. Follow me on Twitter for any updates on that. Once I start doing that, I'm going to be a lot more active on there, and I'll try to drop some YouTube videos while I'm doing that, but I think it is going to be pretty difficult to do so, since I'm going to be doing a 24-hour live stream every single day for like a month straight, or 50 days, or 100 days. I really have no idea how long I'm doing it for. It should be really cool. I've got a crazy goal of hitting 10,000 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the year. We've got a little over 3 months to do that, so I'm really going to need your guys' help, but be on the lookout for that. I'll do my best to drop some YouTube videos while I'm out there, but definitely try to... Did I scratch myself and now it shows? I just realized that I just scratched myself here. Now I look like a freaking idiot, dude, but it's all good. But feel free to tune into the live streams periodically while I'm out there. It'd be cool to see you guys along the journey. If you guys want more information on the investigation of why Charlie Kirk was murdered, I'm going to link a video called Who Killed Charlie Kirk and Why by Propaganda Co. I'd highly recommend checking out that video, and I definitely recommend looking at Candace Owens' live streams that she's been doing. She's been doing one every day covering it, and she's not going to stop until she figures out who did it. I'm going to put those videos in the description, but I don't want to make this video too long. Do all the things that shows that you like this video. Share it with a friend. You can support me on Ko-fi with just $5 a month, and that goes a long way. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and God bless you guys.